The warning lights flashed red across the curved walls of Deep Space Research Station Horizon, casting strange shadows in the usually calm control room. Commander Tom Reed looked up from his coffee, frowning at the urgent message flashing across his screen. In his 15 years of running space stations, he had never seen the Galactic Council use their emergency broadcast system. "Computer, display the full message," he ordered, setting down his favorite Earth-made mug. The ceramic made a soft click against the metal desk. The station's AI responded in its calm voice. "Warning level red. All stations in Sector 7 must evacuate immediately. Hostile apex predator species detected entering the sector." "This is not a drill." Tom leaned forward, his weathered face reflecting in the dark screen. "Show me the species data." The screen filled with an image that made him catch his breath. A creature made of what looked like living crystal floated in the darkness of space. Its body was both beautiful and terrifying, transparent yet somehow dark, with edges that seemed to fade in and out of reality itself. The data scrolling beside the image called them Shadowcats. "Interesting," Tom muttered, scratching his gray-streaked beard. "Computer, what makes these creatures so dangerous?" Shadowcats are classified as the galaxy's most lethal predators due to their ability to phase through solid matter. No known containment method exists. They have destroyed 17 space stations in the past solar cycle. Death toll, 8,422. The evacuation alarm began to sound throughout the station. Tom could hear his crew of 30 researchers already rushing through the corridors, heading for the escape pods. He should join them. It was protocol, and more importantly, it was common sense. But something wasn't adding up. "Computer, show me the Shadowcat's movement pattern over the past month." A star map appeared, showing a glowing trail across several sectors. Tom's eyes narrowed. If these were hunters, their path made no sense. They were moving in an almost straight line, like they were. "They're running from something," he whispered. The door to the control room slid open. His first officer, Jack, stood there with a worried look on his face. "Commander, we need to go. The escape pods are ready." Tom held up his hand, still studying the map. "Look at this, Jack. Does this look like a hunting pattern to you?" Jack stepped closer, his boots making soft thuds on the metal floor. He was young, barely 30, but Tom had never seen anyone better at reading spatial patterns. The younger man's eyes widened as he looked at the map. "They're not spreading out to hunt," Jack said slowly. "They're moving like they're being chased." Another alarm blared through the station. The computer's voice remained calm. "Shadowcat entity detected within range. Estimated arrival, 10 minutes. Please evacuate immediately." Jack grabbed Tom's arm. "Sir, we can theorize about their behavior after we're safe. We need to go." But Tom pulled away, moving to the large observation window. The stars stretched out before him, cold and distant. Somewhere out there, a creature that everyone feared was approaching. A creature that, according to every official report, was nothing but a mindless killer. Yet his gut told him something else was going on. "Jack, you evacuate with the others." "That's an order." Tom's voice was firm. "I'm staying." "Sir, that's suicide." "Maybe." Tom smiled slightly. "Or maybe we've all been too scared to see what's really going on. Humanity didn't get this far in space by running from every frightening thing we encountered." Jack hesitated at the door, loyalty warring with survival instinct. "Sir." "Go, Jack. If I'm wrong, at least only one person will pay for my mistake. If I'm right." Tom turned back to the window, watching the stars. "If I'm right, we might be about to learn something incredible." The sound of Jack's footsteps faded away. Soon after, the computer announced, "All personnel except Commander Reed have evacuated. Shadowcat entity approaching. 5 minutes to contact." Tom stood at the window, his heart beating faster but his mind clear. In the distance, he could see something beginning to shimmer among the stars. It looked like a piece of space itself had begun to move, bending light around its crystalline form. Well, Tom said to himself, straightening his uniform. Let's see who you really are. The crystalline form of the shadow cat filled the observation window, its body shimmering like a diamond caught in starlight. Tom Reed held his breath as the creature drew closer to the station. Up close, it was even more beautiful than the images had shown. Its transparent body seemed to contain an entire galaxy of tiny lights. Computer, full scan of the approaching entity, Tom ordered, trying to keep his voice steady. Scanning. Alert. Unusual energy pattern detected. The entity appears to be damaged. Tom stepped closer to the window, squinting. Now that the computer mentioned it, he could see it. A dark crack running along one side of the crystalline being, like a broken piece of glass. The creature's movements were uneven, almost stumbling through space. It's hurt, Tom whispered. His fear began to fade, replaced by concern. Computer, can we communicate with it? Standard communication methods will not work. The entity appears to process information through light patterns. Tom thought quickly. The landing bay lights. Can you make them pulse in a simple pattern? Affirmative. But Commander, I must warn you that allowing the entity near the station violates all safety protocols. Sometimes being human means knowing when to break the rules, Tom replied. Start with a simple pattern. 3 pulses, repeated. The landing bay lights began to flash. 3 beats, pause, 3 beats, pause. The shadow cat stopped its approach, hovering just outside the station. Then, to Tom's amazement, parts of its crystalline body began to glow in response. 3 pulses, matching the pattern exactly. It's intelligent, Tom breathed, and it's trying to talk back. He rushed to the landing bay, his footsteps echoing through the empty station. The massive bay doors were designed for research vessels, but now they would serve a different purpose. His heart pounded as he reached the control panel. Computer, open the outer doors and activate the containment field. The massive doors slid open slowly. The containment field sparked to life, keeping the bay pressurized while allowing ships, or in this case, mysterious crystal beings, to enter. The shadow cat hesitated at the threshold. Tom walked to the center of the bay, completely exposed. If all the stories about these creatures were true, he was offering himself as an easy meal. But something in his gut told him he was right about this. Come on, he said softly, even though he knew the creature couldn't hear him. I want to help. The shadow cat drifted into the bay slowly, its movements still unsteady. Up close, Tom could see that the crack in its structure was worse than he'd thought. Strange, dark energy leaked from the wound like blood. The creature settled onto the bay floor about 10 feet from Tom. It was roughly the size of a small shuttle, its crystalline body catching and refracting the bay lights in countless directions. This close, Tom could see that the lights within its body weren't random. They moved in patterns, almost like thoughts. Computer, can you analyze those light patterns? Try to find any recurring sequences that might indicate language. Processing. Pattern analysis suggests a structured communication system. Beginning basic translation matrix. The shadow cat's body pulsed with a new pattern of lights. The computer spoke. Rough translation. Help. Danger follows. Tom felt a chill run down his spine. He had been right. They weren't the hunters. They were the hunted. Computer, how do I say, I will help you in light patterns? The bay lights flashed in a complex sequence. The shadow cat's entire body seemed to shiver in response, and a new pattern of lights danced through its form. Translation. Why help? All others fear. Tom smiled and took another step forward. Because that's what humans do. We help first and ask questions later. He gestured to the creature's wound. Computer, tell our friend that I think we can fix that crack in the crystallography lab. As the lights translated his message, the shadow cat's internal lights brightened considerably. The computer translated again. You are different from others. The darkness comes. Must warn. Tom nodded slowly. Then let's get you fixed up, and you can tell me all about this darkness. Computer, Inform Earth Command that we're about to make history. Humans just made friends with the galaxy's most misunderstood species. The crystallography lab hummed with energy as Tom carefully adjusted the healing beam. He had been working with the Shadowcat, whom he'd started calling Prism. For the past 12 hours, the creature lay still on the large examination platform, its damaged crystal structure slowly knitting back together under the precise light treatments. "Computer, show me the repair progress," Tom said, wiping sweat from his forehead. A holographic display appeared, showing the crack slowly closing. The dark energy leak had almost stopped. Inside Prism's body, patterns of light danced more vibrantly than before. "Translation," the computer announced. "Message from Entity Prism. The pain lessens. Your light healing brings strength." Tom smiled. "Tell Prism I'm glad it's working. Ask if they can explain more about their species now." The computer flashed the question in light patterns. Prism's response came in a beautiful cascade of colors that the computer translated. "We are the Light Weavers. Your kind calls us Shadowcats, thinking we hunt in darkness. But we create, we build, we explore. The darkness is our enemy, not our home." As if to demonstrate, Prism's body began to glow with intricate patterns. The light refracted through their crystalline form created images in the air, stars, planets, and what looked like cities made of living crystal. "Remarkable," Tom breathed. "Computer, are you recording this?" "Affirmative. All data is being stored. Additionally, Earth Command reports that the evacuation ships are returning. First Officer Jack has convinced the crew of your success." The lab door slid open, and Jack stepped in cautiously. He stopped, staring at the beautiful light show Prism was creating. "Commander," he said softly, "I brought back as many as I could convince. The others." He trailed off, still watching the lights in awe. "The others will come around," Tom said confidently. "Prism, this is Jack. He's my friend, like I am yours." Prism's lights shifted, creating a pattern that looked almost like a greeting. Jack stepped closer, his initial fear forgotten in the face of such beauty. "They're teaching me about their civilization," Tom explained. "They're architects and artists, Jack. They build structures in space using living crystal. Those reports about them phasing through stations, they were trying to find safe places to hide." The computer translated another message from Prism. "Your metal halls cannot stop the Voidborn. We sought shelter, not victims. But fear made others attack. We could not explain." "Until now," Tom said. He turned to Jack. "Their language is entirely light-based. That's why no one could communicate with them before. Everyone was too scared to try." Jack walked around the platform, studying Prism's healing wound. "And the other stations? The ones that were destroyed?" Prism's lights dimmed slightly. The computer translated. "The Voidborn followed us. They consume energy, life, light. The stations fell to them, not us. We tried to warn, but could not speak, could not explain." Tom placed his hand on Prism's crystal surface. It was warm, vibrating slightly with internal energy. "But now we can understand you. And we can help." "Sir," Jack said, "if what they're saying is true, we need to warn Earth Command about these Voidborn. But more than that." He looked at Prism with new respect. "We need to tell everyone the truth about the Shadowcats." Prism's lights formed new patterns, more urgent now. The computer translated. "Others come. More of my kind seek sanctuary. Will you help them too?" "Of course we will," Tom said firmly. "Earth Command might take some convincing, but they'll understand once they see the truth." He smiled at the beautiful crystal being. "Humanity has a long history of taking in refugees." The lab's lights suddenly flickered as the station's sensors detected new arrivals. The computer announced, "Multiple crystalline entities approaching. Similar structure to Entity Prism." "Right on time," Tom said. He looked at Jack. "Ready to make some more friends?" Jack grinned. "You know, Commander, when I came back, I thought you were crazy. Now I think you might be the sanest person in the galaxy. Prism's lights created a pattern that needed no translation. It looked exactly like a human smile. The control room of Station Horizon was crowded now. 3 more Shadowcats had joined Prism, their crystalline bodies filling the space with shifting patterns of light. Tom stood at the main console, watching as they projected their warning. In the center of the room, their combined light created a 3-dimensional image of pure darkness, a writhing mass that seemed to swallow the light itself. The Voidborn. Computer, record everything, Tom ordered. This is what's been chasing them across the galaxy. The computer translated Prism's urgent light patterns. They consume all energy. Light, heat, life. Nothing escapes. They followed us through the stars, growing stronger with each feeding. Jack watched the projection with horror. How many of these things are there? Another Shadowcat, whom Tom had named Crystal, pulsed with information. A swarm of thousands. They'd birth new ones from consumed energy. Started small, now too many. Tom rubbed his chin thoughtfully. And the Galactic Council never listened to your warnings. They saw only fear, Prism's lights answered. Called us hunters, killers. Would not look closer, would not see truth. The station shuddered slightly as another group of escape pods returned. More of the crew were coming back, drawn by reports of the truth about their crystalline guests. Tom had spent the last few hours sending message after message to Earth Command, explaining everything. Show them what happened to the other stations, Tom said quietly. The Shadowcats' combined projection changed, showing a space station much like Horizon. Then a wave of darkness swept over it. Where the Voidborn touched, metal crumbled and lights died. The station's energy was drained in seconds, leaving nothing but a cold, lifeless hull. We tried to protect them. Crystal's lights flickered sadly. Could not save them. Could not explain. One of the younger crew members, a technician named Mike, stepped forward. But why didn't you just, I don't know, make big light shows like this before? Someone would have understood eventually. Light patterns require focus, strength, Prism explained through the computer. Running, hiding, surviving, took all energy. Only in safety can we speak clearly. And we're the first ones who gave you that safety, Tom said, understanding dawning on his face. The first ones who didn't shoot first and ask questions later. The main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. Earth Command had finally responded to Tom's messages. Admiral Blake's stern face filled the screen. Commander Reed, the Admiral said, I've reviewed your reports. Frankly, they're hard to believe. Tom gestured to the Shadowcats. With all respect, sir, the evidence is right here. The galaxy's most feared predators are actually refugees, and they're trying to warn us about the real threat. As if on cue, the Shadowcats projected the image of the Voidborn again. The Admiral's eyes widened as he watched the demonstration. These, Voidborn, he said slowly. How long until they reach populated space? Prism's lights pulsed urgently. The computer translated. Days, maybe less. They follow our path. Many of my kind still flee before them, leading them here. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. The Galactic Council is demanding we hand over any Shadowcats we find. They're calling them dangerous fugitives. Sir, Tom said firmly, humanity has never been good at following orders we know are wrong. These beings aren't our enemies. They're our best hope against what's coming. And what exactly do you propose we do, Commander? Tom looked at the Shadowcats, their bodies glowing with trust and hope. We do what humanity does best, sir. We prove everyone wrong. These beings can manipulate light and energy in ways we barely understand. If we work together, we might be able to stop the Voidborn before they consume everything in their path. The Admiral sighed. You realize this could start a diplomatic crisis with the Council. Better a diplomatic crisis than the end of all life as we know it, Tom replied. What do you say, sir? Will Earth stand with the misunderstood? Station Horizon had transformed in just 3 days. The once quiet research station now buzzed with activity as humans and Shadowcats worked side by side. The main hangar bay had become a workshop where crystalline beings helped modify Earth's technology with their light-based knowledge. Tom stood at the center of it all, watching as Prism demonstrated their latest discovery. The Shadowcat's body glowed brilliantly as it touched the station's main power core, its crystal structure somehow enhancing the energy output. Power levels at 300% above normal, the computer reported. No signs of instability. Amazing, Jack said, checking the readings. They're not just channeling the energy, they're purifying it somehow. Prism's lights flickered with what Tom had learned was pride. The computer translated. Human emotion makes light stronger. Your hope, your courage. It strengthens our abilities. More Shadowcats had arrived throughout the day, each bringing new knowledge and techniques. The station now hosted 20 of them, their combined light making the corridors glow with a constant, shifting rainbow. Earth Command had sent reinforcements too. 3 battleships waited nearby, their crews learning to work with their new crystalline allies. Admiral Blake had convinced the military leadership that the Shadowcats were too valuable to ignore. Commander, Mike called from his workstation. You need to see this. Tom walked over to the young technician's screen. It showed a simulation of their modified shields, now enhanced with Shadowcat crystal technology. The normal blue energy field now sparkled with points of light, like stars caught in a web. The crystals don't just strengthen the shields, Mike explained excitedly. They can actually redirect energy attacks back at the source. The Voidborn won't just be hitting a wall, they'll be hitting a mirror. A group of Shadowcats working nearby pulsed with approval. The computer translated their combined message. Yes, turn their hunger against them. Make them feel the light they fear. Tom smiled, but it faded as another alert flashed across the screens. A message from the Galactic Council demanded again that Earth turn over the dangerous fugitives immediately. They still don't understand, he muttered, even with all our evidence. Crystal, who had become something of a strategist among the Shadowcats, floated forward. Its lights formed complex patterns that the computer quickly translated. Understanding requires courage to face mistakes, easier to hold to fear than admit wrong. Well, they'll understand soon enough, Jack said grimly. Long-range sensors show the Voidborn are only 2 bays away, and there are more of them than we thought. Tom nodded, then turned to address everyone in the hangar. Listen up. We have 48 hours to prepare. Every shield must be modified, every weapon enhanced. The Voidborn think they're hunting wounded prey, but they're about to learn what happens when humanity makes friends instead of enemies. The humans cheered, and the Shadowcats filled the room with brilliant pulses of light that needed no translation. Their joy and determination were clear. In just a few days, these creatures had gone from being the galaxy's most feared predators to Earth's most valued allies. Tom watched as human engineers worked alongside crystalline beings, their combined efforts creating technology that neither species could have developed alone. Prism, Tom called to his friend. Show them the battle plan one more time. The Shadowcat gathered its fellows, and together they created a huge tactical display in the center of the hangar. Their light formed moving images of ships, stations, and the approaching Voidborn swarm. As Tom watched the humans and Shadowcats working together, checking every detail of their plan, he felt a surge of pride. This was humanity at its best, looking past fear to find friendship, turning enemies into allies, and standing up for what was right even when the rest of the galaxy disagreed. 2 days, he said quietly. 2 days to prove that understanding beats fear every time. They came like a wave of darkness between the stars. The Voidborn swarm filled the view screens of Station Horizon, a writhing mass of shadow that devoured light itself. Tom Reed stood at his command post, watching as the enemy approached. All shields at maximum power, Jack reported. Around the station, modified defense screens sparkled with embedded crystal energy, a gift from their Shadowcat allies. Battleships in position, Mike added. The 3 Earth vessels had spread out in a defensive triangle around the station, their hulls also gleaming with crystalline enhancements. Tom looked at Prism, who floated beside him. The Shadowcat's body pulsed with determined light patterns. The computer translated. "They come hungry. Let them taste our light." "All units, hold position," Tom commanded. "Let them make the first move. Let's show the galaxy what happens when humanity and Shadowcats work together." The Voidborn struck like a thunderbolt. The first wave crashed against the station's shields, but instead of failing, the crystal-enhanced barriers lit up like a newborn star. The dark entities recoiled as their own energy was reflected back at them. "It's working," Jack shouted, shield strength holding at 95%. The Shadowcats moved into action. They phased through the station's walls, positioning themselves at key points around the exterior. Their crystalline bodies began to pulse in perfect sync, creating a web of light between them. A second wave of Voidborn attacked, larger than the first. This time they split their forces, targeting the battleships as well. But the ship's crews were ready. On each vessel, humans worked in tandem with Shadowcat allies, directing energy flows and maintaining the crystal-enhanced shields. "Enemy changing tactics," the computer announced. "They are attempting to find weak points in the light web." Tom watched as dark tendrils probed their defenses. "Prism, now, show them what light weavers can really do." All 20 Shadowcats flared with brilliant energy. The web of light between them suddenly expanded, becoming a massive net. As the Voidborn touched it, they found themselves trapped, their darkness caught in strands of pure light. "All ships, concentrate fire," Tom ordered. "Target the trapped clusters." The battleships opened fire, their weapons now enhanced with crystal energy. Where normal shots would have passed harmlessly through the Voidborn, these beams struck home. Dark entities began to dissolve, their stolen energy dispersing harmlessly into space. But the Voidborn were not finished. The largest cluster, perhaps sensing their defeat, gathered into a single massive form. It was like looking into the heart of a black hole. "Energy spike detected," Mike warned. "They're going to try to overwhelm us with everything they've got." Tom turned to Prism. "Can we handle that much darkness?" The Shadowcat's response was immediate. "Together, we can handle anything." As the Voidborn mass surged forward, Tom made his call. "All Shadowcats, all ships, all power to the main shield. Everyone, focus your light." Humans throughout the station placed their hands on nearby crystals, just as they had practiced. They focused their emotions, their hope, their determination, their friendship, into the light. The Shadowcats' bodies blazed like suns. The Voidborn struck with planet-shattering force. For a moment, darkness seemed to cover everything. But then, from within that darkness, came light. It started as a spark, then grew into a flame, then exploded into a nova. The combined power of human emotion and Shadowcat crystal energy created a wave of pure light that swept through space. Where it touched the Voidborn, they simply ceased to exist, their stolen energy transformed back into light. When the glare faded, the enemy was gone. In their place floated countless points of light, like new stars born from darkness. "Status report," Tom called, blinking spots from his eyes. "Shields at 60%, all crews safe," Jack reported with a grin. "Sir, we did it. We actually did it." Through the view screen, Tom could see ships appearing at the edge of the sector. The Galactic Council had arrived, just in time to see their most feared predators become their greatest defenders. 1 month after the battle, Station Horizon had become the center of a new era in galactic relations. The observation deck, once a quiet place for stargazing, now hosted the first official meeting between Earth Command, the Galactic Council, and the newly recognized Shadowcat Federation. Tom Reed stood at the podium, Prism floating beside him, as he addressed the gathered representatives. Through the large windows behind them, crews could be seen installing massive crystal arrays, the first pieces of a joint human Shadowcat defense network. A month ago, we faced extinction because of our fears, Tom said to the assembled crowd. Today, we begin a new chapter because of our friendship. The Shadowcats in attendance, now numbering over 100, created a spectacular light show that the computer translated. From darkness came understanding. From fear came trust. From trust came victory. Admiral Blake stepped forward, holding an official document. The Earth Alliance formally recognizes the Shadowcat Federation as a sovereign and peaceful species. Furthermore, we extend an invitation for permanent settlement in human space. The Galactic Council representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Their spokesperson, a tall blue-skinned being, stood slowly. The Council, he paused, choosing his words carefully, acknowledges our error in judgment. We allowed fear to blind us to truth. Prism's response filled the room with gentle pulses of light. The past is shadow. The future is light. We choose to look forward. Tom smiled, remembering how far they'd come. The station buzzed with activity now, humans and Shadowcats working together on dozens of projects. The crystal being's light-based technology combined with human innovation had already produced remarkable advances in energy generation, space travel, and communication. Commander Reed, the Council spokesperson, continued, the Council wishes to establish similar cooperation programs in other sectors. Would you consent to serve as Chief Advisor for Human Shadowcat Relations? Before Tom could answer, Jack burst into the observation deck. Sir, you need to see this. On the main screen, a transmission appeared from a distant human colony. Their sensors had detected something strange. Massive energy readings unlike anything seen before. But instead of panic, there was excitement in the colony leader's voice. The Shadowcats were right, she reported. There are more species out there, hiding in the dark, afraid to show themselves. We've made first contact with beings of pure energy who say they've been watching us. After seeing how we handled the Voidborn situation, they want to talk. The room erupted in excited discussion. The Shadowcats filled the air with complex light patterns that the computer struggled to translate. Their joy was too complex for simple words. Tom turned to Prism, who had become far more than just an ally. Looks like we started something bigger than we thought, old friend. Prism's response was clear. Humans see light in darkness. You looked past our fearsome appearance to find truth. Others will learn from your example. The Council spokesperson cleared his throat. Perhaps we should establish a new protocol for first contact situations, one that emphasizes understanding over fear. I have a better idea, Tom said. Let's make it a law. From this day forward, all species in known space must be judged by their actions, not their appearance or rumors about them. The vote was unanimous. As the Council members signed the new law, the Shadowcats created their most beautiful light show yet, a recreation of the battle against the Voidborn, but this time focusing not on the fighting, but on the moments of cooperation between species. Later, as the delegates mingled and talked, Tom stood at the window with Prism. You know what he said, when I first decided to trust you, people thought I was crazy. The Shadowcat's lights twinkled in what Tom now recognized as laughter. The computer translated. The best friendships often begin with a little madness. Outside the window, more ships arrived carrying curious visitors from across the galaxy, all eager to learn about the humans who had befriended their most feared nightmare. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if the universe itself was celebrating a new age of understanding. And somewhere in the station, a young cadet was updating the first contact protocols with a new first line. Don't judge by appearances. The most frightening exterior might hide the best of friends.